Welcome to the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel powered by InsideTexas.com. I'm Joe Cook. We got Justin Wells. And Justin, we got some great news to talk about. Four-star defensive tackle Vodney Cleveland out of the Birmingham area. Parker High School has committed to Texas. He was thinking about taking an official visit to Miami this weekend. Didn't want to do that. Instead, he wanted to give you something.
Yeah, man. Vodney Cleveland wanted to jump into the mix. He's coming off his official visit. Remember, we Inside Texas went to see him about a month ago. And he had said he had a pretty good idea where he wanted to go, but he wanted to go through the OVs to make sure. He was really looking forward to that official visit to Texas. And then he said he had a decision he wanted to make about mid-June. And when we talked to him on Sunday, right after the visit, he said, yeah, he's got a lot to think about, but that decision was probably going to come in that range. And then less than 24 hours later, he puts out that he's going to be that he was going to make his commitment, and the Horns get their guy.
Kenny Baker doing great work again. Gets his third defensive tackle in the cycle, third out of a tough area to recruit in.
Yes.
But we talked to our buddy Coach Williams about this. And when you're looking for guys in the trenches, you're looking for guys exactly like Vodney Cleveland. Yeah,
look, Vodney, you want violence. And this guy brings that. He also brings size. He brings a tenacity to him. You know what else, man? He is really well liked in his high school by the teachers, by the coaches, by his teammates, by the counselors. This is a really good kid. And a lot of times, people get up, sometimes fans aren't as big in the NIL circus, but if you can find a great kid and attach him to that, that's a good recipe. That's a good formula for success. And I think that's what Texas is doing. They're being very cautious with their takes, and they want to make sure that they're going to be fits culturally, not just on the field, but in that locker room. And Vodney adds all of that. But I mean, just right now, the size, the strength, the quickness at 320 pounds, about almost 6'3". He's going to do a lot of damage. Him beside Dylan Berryman is an incredible anchor to what Texas is trying to build around.
The On3 industry ranking, he's number 120 overall, number 11 defensive lineman, number 8 player in Alabama. And if you see these highlights of him playing a red team with AHSAA on the field, that's him getting after KJ Lacey. So I'm sure KJ Lacey, who I think also helped.
KJ was one of his hosts this weekend and was actually last weekend was actually instrumental in this recruitment.
I think KJ's probably pretty happy to not be seeing big number 8 and white falling on him again anymore. But that's going to be helpful. I bet there are a lot of Longhorn fans who are happy to see him probably ending up in burnt orange later down the road. We talked about Kenny Baker a lot last year and how it took some time for him to get going. He's going now. He had the big portal cycle, had the great 2025 class with Josiah Sharma, Moran Charles, of course, Justice Terry. Now he keeps it going and is hitting up a place in the Southeast. And like I said, getting tough wins in this area for players at Florida and players that, LSU, players that Ole Miss, Alabama, all these different teams won.
Did you see him lined up at corner out there or big nickel in that last highlight? Oh, my gosh. And he broke up the screenplay. Good Lord. This kid is get in this area, Joe. That's the thing. They've gone hunting because the cycle in Texas hasn't been great. The number 1 defensive tackle for 2026 in state is from Mississippi. So the cycle, it's been a little bit down the last few cycles. So they're going in the region that harvests these guys. Give Baker credit. They were in this recruitment a little bit later than everybody else. Kenny and them started kind of really corresponding between December and January. Kenny went out there to Birmingham a number of times to see him, to hang out with his family. Honestly, it was fighting off teams like Alabama, who he had decommitted from, Auburn. Florida was looking really good for a minute. They were looking really good. And then Miami was throwing they were trying to get in this thing as well. But once Baker started really prioritizing him, and once Vodney felt that, I think this started trending Texas. And then once the OV happened, I think that sealed it.
Before we keep going, got to show some love to our sponsor, and that is Josh Holden Real Estate.
Hi, guys. Sorry to interrupt, but if you're thinking about buying or selling a home in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area, you need to contact Josh Holden. The Metroplex is massive, and the local real estate market is full of nuances and subtleties only an experienced agent like Josh can help you navigate. From Preston Hollow to Highland Park, Uptown to Old East Dallas, Josh will be there to guide you through the process of buying or selling your home. Now, Josh is a UT grad, a lifetime Texas Ex. He's reliable, savvy, and from a personal perspective, he's a really great guy to chat with. So why don't you give him a call and chat with him today about your real estate needs in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area. His number is 972-917-8081. That's 972-917-8081. Or you can reach him at his website, which is joshholdenrealestate.com. All the contact details are in the description below. Thanks so much. And back to the show.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, LC. Justin, the when you're playing in the SEC, getting these big defensive tackles is always so important. And this is a three-man class with Corey Wells, with Dylan Berryman, with Vodney Cleveland now that looks about as good as you could ask for heading into the heading out of official visit season and right before summer gets going.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing right now. Get your kid in the mix. That's three already before the season's even started at defensive line, and that's something where you can kind of focus on those, and then I think the number could be four with a number of other guys, Jamie and Winfield, James Johnson. There's other guys in the mix, but I think getting these guys in early is huge. It's weird because Texas doesn't usually get a lot of recruits in June and July. Now, a lot of guys come off the board in the summertime because they're trying to get their spot before the beginning of their senior year. But Texas just doesn't push that much unless the kid just absolutely is a no-brainer elite or just wants to be at Texas and it's a good fit. But I think Baker he's got 3 D linemen by mid-late June. Like, we haven't seen that before. That's new in this one. And so, but that's just showing you that Kenny Baker has grown. Like we said, in the first 6 months, it took a little time to see his footing, build on relationships, because it really does matter. It does matter. We've seen it affect kids when others get a head start. And so, but I think you got to tip your cap for Kenny Baker because he's been getting a hand here. This is not just Kenny. PK has been instrumental. Alan Clark has been huge, even on some of these guys like Dylan Berryman. And so this is an all, if you ask the staff, they'll say it's a team effort, but you got to tip your cap to Kenny.
One last thing, I think you're very unique in the Texas market and that you've made your way to Alabama. You made your way to Birmingham. You mentioned that the coaches and the school loves him. I think he transferred into Parker. But he still endeared himself. What's maybe one other little tidbit that you learned when you got to see him in person in the Yellowhammer State?
Oh, I learned that he had an uncle that played edge in the 2000s at Auburn named Don Page. And so once he started getting recruited, which was in 8th grade, his first offer, I want to say, was Western Kentucky. And he thought he had made it. And that was one of the things he told me. He said, yeah, I got that offer. And once I thought I was done. I thought I was good. And he goes, I had no idea what was about to happen. I thought that was kind of significant. I also thought, the fact that he was just getting offered that early. But probably one of my favorite takeaways, there's this hallway for seniors at Parker. And above each locker, and it's a long hallway, are college flags. You just see college flags on both sides, up and down, and generally I think that's for seniors. These were a lot. A kid may go there, another kid may. Some of that kind of stuff. There was no Texas flag, and because we were going to take a picture underneath one, and he told me, he's like, you need to tell Texas they need to send me a flag. And so when he said that to me, I thought, well, that's nice. And then later on, I thought, that's a tell. And so there's a lot of cool stuff about Vodney. I think the world of that kid. I think he's got a great circle. His mom and dad have been pivotal. That's why his grades are good. That's why he's always got good discipline. That's why he's always, I think that's why coaches and teachers rave about him. He's not too caught up in it. He's really pretty simple-minded in it. And like I said, about a month ago when we went to see him, he told me he kind of had an idea already where he wanted to go. He just wanted to be thorough and finish up because he wasn't going to decommit again. He committed too soon to Alabama. I think he told me right after Kalen DeBoer was hired is when he had jumped in. And because he had thought that's what you're supposed to do. You're born and raised in Alabama. You go to Alabama. You learn later on. You don't have to do that. And that's why he winds up in Austin.
Awesome get for Texas, Kenny Baker, and everybody. Make sure you head to InsideTexas.com. We got the link in the description. We'll have a lot more on Inside Texas about what this means for Kenny Baker, for Cleveland, for the class, and everything. Of course, like this video, subscribe to the channel. Any recruiting news, it's been coming in droves the past few days, past few weeks. Any recruiting news, you're going to have it all right here. So, Justin, thank you so much. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on the Inside Texas Football YouTube channel, powered by InsideTexas.com.